Trump made big news last night at the Alabama-Georgia game by, wait for it, standing for the national anthem. Yes, it's now newsworthy when the president stands for the national anthem. The media, of course, had plenty to say about it, as they always do. We have Colin Kaepernick to thank for that. Britt McHenry, a former ESPN reporter who now writes for The Federalist, says, quote, Trump's visit to college football championship highlights the dichotomy between fans and the media. Britt is here with me now. Thanks for coming, Britt. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm good.
So first I want to congratulate you. I recently read that you're the third biggest jerk of the year by the New York Daily News. So congratulations on that one.
Thank you. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So next year,
Absolutely.
number one is what this conservative
aiming for the gold
is aiming for. Yeah, it's there's a particular writer who has adopted me, I guess, as a beat, which is unusual, but he's taken me on for my stance about Colin Kaepernick and thinking that Americans should stand for the anthem. I was critical of Michael Bennett of the Seattle Seahawks because he seemingly fabricated a story about Las Vegas police, and I think we always have to remind ourselves of what the police do for our community. So if that makes me a jerk,
yeah, and if he's using you as a beat, more power to you.
It's not a good beat. But
now I wanted to talk about, you wrote the dichotomy between fans versus the media, and you saw that last night. What do you mean by that?
Because going into the national championship game, I was talking with a couple friends before writing that article, and I said this is going to be comedy. Because in Alabama, President Trump won with the largest margin in a presidential election since 1972. He had almost 63% of the votes. They loved Trump. I even used the Wedding Crashers line, Donald Trump in football. That's what Alabama does. So I knew that going in. He won all 11 SEC states, so he has a stronghold in the South and with Republicans there. The media, however, as always, is never really in his favor. Sports media has been amplified in that regard. And I think never before with this presidency and this White House administration, we've seen a blending of sports and politics in just such a dramatic fashion. And even a couple days leading up to that, Sports Network commentators were criticizing him.
Right.
So,
I want to quote from your article. These are the people you put in your article. You have Katie Nolan saying Trump's a stupid person. You have, and then the ESPN responded. They said, we looked into the totality of Nolan's comments. They were inappropriate, and we have addressed it with her. So I guess they addressed it with her, and that's all you're going to hear about.
She was on the simulcast of the game.
Right. So they addressed it with her, and that's about it. And then Max Kellerman said it made political comments beforehand. But you have the entire nation watching, you know, this football game. Mainly, I mean, a big portion of it is because of the politics. And so you saw Trump last night proudly standing for the national anthem. But it was kind of funny because you see the video, and we'll play it in a sec, but he couldn't exactly decide whether he wanted to sing along with the national anthem or not. So let's roll the video. So he's kind of thinking, am I going to sing along or not? But the media took this, ran with it. Jon Miller, who's a former Hillary staffer, actually spun it as he doesn't know the words to the national anthem. He tweeted,
of course that's
right, he tweets, he doesn't know the words. Donald Trump is just paused at the national anthem. You know you saw that. So the media narrative here is that Trump doesn't know the words, which is ridiculous.
Do you know how many times in press boxes covering the NFL where you stand, I always stand, always put my hand over my heart, but sometimes even when it comes to singing, you look around like, am I really going to go hard here?
And especially if it's, you know, a famous band, you know, because sometimes they do their own thing with the national anthem. So you're like, do I sing or do I not? I think we've all been there.
Yeah, and with all of the attention he gets and his long career in business and reality television, people still forget this wasn't a lifetime politician. This is the first year of his presidency. That's a huge stage to be on. So, of course, it was more of him probably just deciding at what point is he going to sing, is he not going to sing.
Exactly.
But,
and for all of you people who think that he doesn't know the words to the national anthem, we actually have a video of him singing so that you can see. So another instance that I loved from last night's game is before the game, you have Bo Scarborough, not to be confused with Joe Scarborough. Apparently Scarboroughs, they all hate the Trump.
They probably would both say the same thing.
Right, exactly. It could be confused. But he ran into the game screaming, F Trump, and we also have video of that. Now, did you have a reaction to this?
Well, I wanted to enjoy the game like everyone else. So when I saw the clip, I listened to it several times, and it's very clear that he says expletive Trump.
Right.
Yes.
He's not saying, he tweeted either last night or this morning, he tweeted, if y'all really listen, I said Georgia, shaking my head about y'all people in this world. I mean, he did not say Georgia.
No,
he
and
said Trump.
Is that much better?
Right.
Way to have sportsmanship.
Right, exactly.
Participation trophy and sportsmanship.
Were you thinking we're going to see a big political statement from any of the players, or were you actually going in there thinking they're going to enjoy the game, or they're going to play the game and be focused on the game?
I was undecided about if certain players would decide to kneel. I believe they probably were talked to before that. I mean, you have to remember this is still a college atmosphere. But I thought there would be much more discussion from the media, like my article in the Federalist said, going into it, because just days prior, all those quotes you read, you know, commentators were slamming teams just for accepting an invitation to the White House.
Right.
Now the president, he pays his visit to the American people and to college football's biggest stage. So I expected that more from the media. I actually think most of the outbursts like that were at more of a minimum.
Right. Now, I want to shift over to just kind of mixing politics with sports, because we have all these people who got very minimal response from ESPN. They really didn't do anything. You used to be at ESPN, and you were outspoken, not overly outspoken, but you were definitely not hidden in your conservative beliefs. And during their layoffs, ESPN let you go, and you're pretty convinced that it was not separate from your conservative point of view. And you actually tweeted that it was. You deleted the tweet after. But how did these people get away, especially people like Jamel Hill, who say Trump is a white supremacist? How do they get away with saying those things? And then you say things that are not even remotely as radical and as provocative as that, and you don't keep your job.
That's the million-dollar question, right? Especially some of the salaries over there. That's a million-dollar question. I don't know. I was really personally offended in terms of the comments Jamel Hill made, because that's saying 63 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump are enablers of white supremacy, which is just not true. And she went on the next day and hosted a show. If I were, and I wouldn't, to say anything racially charged about former President Barack Obama, or something misogynistic about Hillary Clinton if she had won the presidency, done.
Right.
I mean, it would have been a week-long suspension. I had a week-long suspension for something that was completely in my private life.
Right.
So to take on the president like that, I don't know what the explanation was, and I don't really think whatever they did say about it sufficed.
Sure. We have a little less than a minute left, but I just want to talk to you also about the fact that, you know, sports watchers, a lot of them are conservative, and the fact that Trump is president is testament to the fact that so much of the country believes in Trump's agenda, believes in, you know, is Republican and also conservative, and yet ESPN, and you can see it with their numbers, is completely alienating these people by, you know, just forcing liberal politics in their face. Do you think that there is that is a smart business choice?
I think with the way technology is evolving, there's so much digital space now that opinion is being regarded much higher. And we've seen it in politics, and that's happening in sports. So I don't have an issue with certain commentators or broadcasters taking a stand, preferably not on the left. But if they're going to do that, you need to have the full discussion. If you're going to have somebody championing Colin Kaepernick, then at least have someone questioning why he wore socks depicting police officers as pigs, why he wore a shirt with Fidel Castro on it.
And
I'm
why
from
that's
South
allowed,
Florida.
and the Jingle Bell shoes that, you know, some other player wore, you know, that
the
was,
running back on Christmas.
They got fined a couple $1,000 for
so the NFL is going to have a lot of these questions in the offseason. They were very passive aggressive. They didn't really know how to take on this issue, and I would expect them to have meetings in March about how to handle the anthem controversy moving forward.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Britt. We appreciate it.